Hey guys, okay, it's been a couple of months since my last public video, and I want to go ahead and explain where we are. It's not yet where we want to be, but let me explain. So, when we were talking about getting, and I'm just going to go here for now because this is going to be the next thing I don't want to lose track. When we were talking about getting all the stuff up, getting the sites submitted, getting Google to start accepting the pages, that took some time, but we figured it out. And so we had to recreate the power in the sites and revamp them and then resubmit the sitemaps. By consultation, here's what I got. And it was firm. It was do not create crosslinks yet. And so here I am going, why not? And the answer is actually what I thought it would be. But it is the same thing. Google expects the human nature of people put up websites, check them over, make sure they got their pages on there, make some changes, whatever it is, kind of the same thing we do. Before they get around to thinking about now, who can I link out to and who can link to me, right? And when people are saying, who can I link out to, when can they link to me? They don't all do it at the same time, right? It's not like you would link to somebody who's thinking that day to link to somebody else who's thinking that day to link to somebody else. So the idea was, you have to give it time first because otherwise Google doesn't understand why it's happening so fast. It's too fast. Give it a couple months. It's like a couple months. So I've got bad news, good news, and great news for you. And I'm kind of giving it to you in that order. And actually, the bad news has two parts. It gets from bad to worse before it gets better, but then it gets way better. So 2 months we had to wait before trying to push up domain rating higher and getting fresh backlinks, which it turns out is important too. You make sure to create freshness, so you kind of add to the scope of things, and that's why we're talking about the layered effect of getting people involved and rolling them through. And the sooner you get in, then the more people that wind up backlinking through the layers to you, which is a big deal. All right, so then we were just kind of like jarred with the whole, okay, well, it's not going to be much fun to have to wait, but wait we will. Because, you know, we put a lot of websites on, a lot of content, a lot of industries. We don't want to mess that up. All right. So what are we going to do in the meantime? We decided we're going, how do I explain this right? We are going to tackle something during this 2-month period that we always wanted to tackle. And that's this. When you think about what is an advantage for WordPress and some other platforms that we never had, it's the equivalent of Yoast, the plugin, right? Many people who choose WordPress for their website, if they're savvy, if they've already done websites and they're doing new ones, they would say, well, I'm going to choose WordPress or one of a number of other platforms that it's integrated into. I'm going to choose one of those platforms because I can apply Yoast. Why does that matter so much? Because what Yoast does is a ton of simple optimization steps that really makes the websites great, okay? And that gets as far as like schema, you know, analyzing your meta descriptions, checking your robots.txt file. It's some of the other tricks. I'm going to show you a cool one here with sitemap.xml. So we went in and said, what does Yoast have that we don't have? We're going to make Yoast work for our platform. The equivalent of what they did, we're going to make it happen for us just to make sure we didn't forget anything or skip anything. But one thing we never did tackle really in this new environment was schema. So we said we're going to do schema. If we have to do it through AI, if we have to do it with GPT, we are going to do schema, whatever it takes, and do it right. And do it right for every single page and do it thoroughly for every single page. And make sure it comes out perfectly. So I'm almost tripping over my words, but I don't mean to be. Let me just step in and say this. From as far back as May 2008. Okay, this is kind of cool what Yoast did. I like this chart. This is very nice. They started walking through stuff that they integrated, you know, and the advantages that they went through as they kept going, okay? And as they did that, they kept building some really powerful stuff. And we said, okay, with the exception of crossing through to other platforms, because this is just, you know, like Zapier integration. We could do it. There's been no request for it, you know. But with aside from that, we just said, what are we missing? SEO workouts, we got it covered. Let me see. What this does, we have covered on our blogs. We could cover it on our pages in a day. Crawl optimization settings, I'm going to show you. There's a real nice trick to that. It's very cool. Different things. But it's simple stuff. And some of this is, you know, cooler, more important. Some of this is less, but just still nice, right? To have all these tools here. One thing is to calculate the reading time of the page. We do that with our blogs. We haven't done that elsewise. One is to identify the authors of the blog, sure, but then also the authors of the commenters. We do that. I don't know if Yoast does. But then that's because we can create our own comments automatically onto our blogs to give them some depth of perception. Different things. So what was I going to say? Yeah, like estimated reading time, right? This is a piece of cake, right? It's just calculate the number of words on the page and then put in a reading time, piece of cake. This I'll show you in a second. Schema integrations, I'll show you in a second because we did it. We did it. We got schema. And schema's huge. As a matter of fact, let me pause and see if I can find an article on Google about how important it is real quick. And there we go. You know, does adding schema help ranking on Google? Yes, schema data can help Google rank a website higher in search results. And this is broken out. It explains what it is and the fact that it's not a direct confirmed Google ranking factor, but schema by definition tells Google A is A, B is B, C is C, and D is D for sure on this page, right? This page is about that, and that. This is about that. That is for that. This means that, and that means that. And it's really crystal clear. And so when you put schema into your web pages, Google goes, aha, I don't have to guess what the page is about. I know what the page is about. What about the competitors? Do we have any good competing pages talking about the same structured data here on their websites, right? And that's the whole thing about structured data anyway. All right, so we said if we have to wait to do crosslinks and really drive it up, what else have we not done that needs to be done to ensure that our websites are literally just as finished as possible, as great as possible? I mean, we've done everything. Foundational structure, for those of you who've been following us for years, mastering HTML validation, mastering page speed, right? Mastering on-page SEO structure, mastering all the sorts of things we need. We have really gone crazy with that. We've really maximized the coding and everything else, right? So we went far. Anyway, here it is. We started in. And so let me just show you two things really fast. One of them is this. Sorry, I keep flipping, trying to point this out. Crawl optimization settings. There is something Google really wants to see us do that most people don't do. Again, the way to rank is you don't beat Google, you beat your competitors. You do all the things your competitors don't think to do. And the more those you can do, the more algorithmically you've outdone your competitors. And with us, the name of the game is, how do we not just do that on web pages? Anyone can sit down and hand type. How can we automate the development of this across thousands of web pages so we can beat all the typists out there and beat all the people who maybe they can use Yoast, which is pretty automated for their web pages, but they can only create one website at a time, where we can create tons, right? The point is, we can outdo everyone if we have all the tools in place. And we just thought, long as we're waiting for crosslinks, what do we have left to do? A couple of things that we got off Yoast. We just turned to Yoast and said, well, let's look at Yoast. That's one we'd love to have the equivalent of. Okay, and so for Yoast, it's just, what are they doing? Because there's nothing magic about Yoast. Nobody reverse engineers Yoast to come up with this stuff. This is just a shortcut list of good practices, best practices. And since we know Yoast has a reputation and we look at their publicly available information here, all we're doing is saying, yeah, this stuff is important. That stuff is important. We do this. We do AI-generated titles and meta descriptions, right? Inclusive language analysis, we do that anyway. We write at a 7th grade reading level, unless we choose otherwise. Front-end SEO inspector, we do that. We do this. We took care of that automatically. All this stuff. So anyway, let me step and show you. This is a neat one. what's the difference between having a sitemap that tells Google that you have these pages, and I'm just using a short website right now to illustrate a point, and the XML sitemap that you give Google in Google's language, which tells Google the same list of links, okay? It's the same links, but the question is, what's different? Two things are really, really important that are very, very different. Expect the change frequency to be monthly. Expect that, right? Does Google follow this? No. Google will come whenever dang well pleases and check things out. But it notices what you said here. And this is about realistic, right? This is about as often as we would go changing existing pages on every single site, right? Because we're talking not about the site, we're talking about the page. How often is this page changed? How often is that page changed? And we just say monthly because we know Google doesn't really pay a lot of attention to that. But they pay attention to priority. Anything at 1.0, that's the highest priority. Think of it as 100%. Everything else in the sitemap, in the top menu and the sitemap is 0.8. Okay, so we were going to do 1.0, 0.8, and 0.6. Then we thought, no, because there's a better way to go about this. We want Google to think of this stuff as higher priority. Don't skip these things. I mean, if it's going to come back and only see one, that's 1.0, then it will start looking at the next thing down, which it's going to see is 0.8 for everything. So it'll check it evenly. But here is the other thing we're doing that Google absolutely loves, because everything that we've ever had trouble with the sitemaps about Google stopping and not coming back and checking on their own is because they wouldn't know when we've updated the pages last, and they're kind of waiting for us to tell them, right? We learned the trick. Add this. Last modified on what date? Okay, when was this page here last modified? Then this day. Oh, okay. So when we put up a bunch of new pages and stuff, then all of that's the same date, right? But guess what? Say we come back and we make changes that affect some of these pages but not others. There are many things that we do that actually have that effect. They just naturally do. So then the last mod can be updated on some of these pages and not others. So it is, Jan, Feb, March, it's April 4th right now, so 0404, right? So if I made a change that affects this page, right, and it might affect a bunch more today, then this will update to today, okay? So instead of Google having to recrawl my entire website to see if it's improved or not, I'm telling it, hey, I didn't touch that page. I didn't touch that page. I didn't touch that page either. Every time Google just checks this sitemap really, really fast, which, Google can do that, right? Really, really quick. It can take this in. But it sees, oh, you've got 2024-04-04 on this page. I haven't been here. Google's saying I haven't been here like 3 days or, 8 days or something. So Google would say, I haven't gotten to your changes yet on this page. I'm going to take a look. See, when you tell Google, don't waste your time on everything, I only changed a few of these pages, whatever it is, right? Or you're telling Google, I have changed every single one of these pages, okay? Then Google gets to say, fine, okay, I'm going to come look. This is our way of being able to take more of that manual labor out of our hands to go verify and validate stuff on the sitemap, as much as just make updates, just improve things, and let Google come back and check the sitemaps.xml and say, aha, I'm going to check out that page and that page and that page because I haven't done it yet, right? It's new information for me. Okay, that was huge. That stuff came out of Yoast, and I also got other people's feedback on that, and I looked it up. This right here is a huge step towards pleasing Google, getting Google to be more friendly to your sitemaps, simply because you're helping Google decide the truth of these things. See how old this idea is compared to the exactness of this idea? Okay, there you have it. So that right there is massive. It's going to make everything move faster because Google will get used to how often it sees these updates and how many days apart they are, and it will come and check more frequently to keep up with that. It wants to see new good content. All right, and the content is good. All the pages are passing our checks, right? We have a single push button in our system for deleting bad pages. We define some variables that we call when the pages are bad and hit go. All the pages that are bad are gone, right? Everything else is perfect. When Google goes through the sitemap, there is not a problem with a page. That stuff I love. I love it. We did really, really great things, and our sites are better than probably anybody's, really. And we built the ability to monitor the feedback. We can download page details that has all of these columns, and we can sort the columns for all those pages on all those sites and see where the answer is yes, the answer is no, or on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is, we can know if we accomplished everything we're supposed to accomplish, right? And we can go back real fast, isolate the pages where we missed something or missed the website, and just fix it like that. Download the page's detail again, right? Make sure everything is perfect. So we did that stuff recently. All this time that I've been silent over these past months, we've been building this up. Here's another one. This one's huge if you don't know it, and that's this schema. Okay, if I go to schema.org, all right, anyone who doesn't know what schema is a way of putting code into your web page that says, on the web page, we happen to mention at least one phone number, you know, that you could call to get a hold of this guy, or that guy, and you want to know which one's for customer service or our main phone number, right? That's this one. So of the 4 phone numbers you see on this web page, and you're reading through the wording, blah, 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 here's a phone number, blah, 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 another one, blah, 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 another one. And Google doesn't know, well, which one do you want me to present? You know, which one is the right phone number? You know, little concepts like that. So what we can do in the code is say the business phone number is this. And then you might say, hey, we're open 24/7 except for holidays and weekends, except for emergencies. And so then Google's like, well, what are your operating hours? Aha, schema allows us to absolutely detail that out. Day by day, from the beginning or opening hour to the last or closing hour of the day. And even we can specify launch hours and whether they're different on Monday than Wednesday or Friday. Now, doesn't mean that we have to use all the schema. It's kind of overkill. Usually you grab a batch that you think best presents the information you want to present, and you take that structured schema code and you build it off the page. Well, here's an example. Let's just talk about a case where we're saying this is an article on a web page. It's exactly what it is. Schema looks something like this, okay? It's code again. It's based on this website in case anyone's got questions. And by the way, schema is not just for Google. It's for Bing, Yahoo. It's even for Yandex, like in Russia. Pretty much the world agreed on schema coding so that programmers don't have to be confused which ones they need to use. Okay. What is this type of thing that we're here on this webpage? It's an article, okay, of a web page. And this is the ID of this page, just in case you weren't sure. Here is the headline. Okay, so this should be like your canonical link concept. Here is the headline of the page. This is the headline. In case you were reading and you weren't sure if we meant for this to be the head, maybe we made it the H1 tag, but then the small fine print below that, the pre-footer print or whatever, subheader print. Maybe we wanted that to be the headline, right? We get to tell Google the headline, okay? We get to tell Google the description of the page the way we see fit, whether it's the meta description or some other description. If there is an image that represents the page, and there will usually be, okay, it would be something like this, you know, who knows, images, right, maybe built by AI, and then it's main image dot, you know, PNG or WEBP. Okay, here's the point. The images In our case, when we land on a page, you know how we said that we create these images going back and forth through the paragraphs to fill in the page nicely with images? The first image on the page, the one that's above the fold, the most obvious, closest to the H1 tag, right? The first H2 tag down is the main image for the page. So whenever there's a main image for the page, it's going to show up with that thing, okay? Who's the author of the page? Okay, we can define it. Is it a person or a corporation? If it's a person, is it a person's name? If it's a corporation, then it's a corporation's name. But who, right? So we define this stuff easily with some Excel files and upload it. Things that are automated are automated. The other stuff like who's the author, we just filled in for the pages, right? And we can cycle through people, corporation, different people, men, woman. We could even do different corporations if we thought that made sense on the web pages. And of course, all this applies to the blogs that we can auto-generate now for the websites, along with blog comments and blog images, okay, through AI, through DALL-E 3, right, is where we're at right now. By the way, I'm just going to throw this in before I forget. People have been saying, hey, Dave, you know, like for medical websites, it looks like Claude might be the future for that, right? Because Google wants to cover that. If anyone is searching Google for medical advice, then they want to make sure they're pitching something believable, something sensible. And so Claude from Google is a lot about just verifying the authenticity of claims, medical claims, you know, insurance claims, surely, things like that. Oh, I'm going too fast. Claude wasn't built by Google, it was built by Anthropic. But here's the point. People are asking, are we going to integrate more of the AI options than just GPT? And the answer is sure. Absolutely. So all that stuff is going to come for sure, just sort of as we integrate different things for whatever the different use cases are. But the fact that we're going to be able to make it possible for you to choose what AIs you want, be able to instantly plug them in, yes, that's going on. And for those of you who have our DCCP as a tool, right? Then that right there. Do you know what DCCP is? Digital Command Center Package. Sorry. Those of you who have that, right, so that you can create these websites at will using all of our powerful tools, those of you who have that, yes, of course, all this stuff is getting integrated there. Like all the schema stuff, the sitemap.xml, all of your websites are affected by the updates, okay? And you can hit the buttons in your control center to update your websites too with all these different functions. We don't even have like model numbers. You know how you always have like a version release and a version number 1.3 followed by a 1.4, 1.5. We don't even need that. You just go in, if you have any questions, if your domains are outdated, you just simply highlight them, put them in a box, and hit update these things. And then, boom, they're updated. So anytime you run something and it didn't quite work, stick them in there and update them, and then they do. All the updates are caught up. It's pretty cool. Okay, so then we've got like organization information. There's a whole section. I just happened to cut out of here because I was testing different things, but there's, you know, different sections that can be applied to this. What date is the article published? That's neat, right? That's really a big deal. And the article section, I mean, this could coordinate with the sitemap XML file because the same date that we publish the article is the same day that that page comes into existence or is updated, and therefore this date will match, or we'll make it match, the date of the sitemap.xml, or if we want it to not match, we'll just put a date in here that's a couple of days older to make it look like it was published first, then added to the website later, right? Article section. I tested how many you can have because I know we can put in the section for the H1 tag. And then the sections for the H2 tags after that. But then the question is, what if we want to go like H2 and then also we want to really dial it in? We want the H3 that goes with that, the next H3 and the next H3 that goes with that, and then step down to the next H2 because that's what comes next. And it has its own H3s. then step down to the next H2. And it has its own 4 or 5 H3s, whatever. So we said, okay, we're going to make all that possible. And we're going to have a simple switch for flipping off the H3s in case we feel like it's too much information, if it feels like it's working against us. And that's page by page again. So if some pages are getting higher rank and others aren't, and we come to a point where we question whether the schema's a little too detailed on some of those pages, then it's a piece of cake for us to go, and just simply flip off or on the H3 tags for just those pages that aren't ranking as highly, and then run it again, see if it does better. So absolutely cool to have this incredible amount of power at our fingertips so automatically. And we figured out where to automatically get this information too. So you know what the funny thing is? We can generate all of the schema now without even needing AI, and we can do it at the press of a button for every web page times every website. That is huge. Everything that ranks, I don't care what it is, okay? I've always felt like we were missing schema and I wanted it. Name anything, I don't care. Seattle dentist, okay? And I don't even need to do Seattle. Name another city, L something, right? I'd say Liverpool. I don't know if there is a Liverpool in America anywhere, like Liverpool, Alabama or something. I guess so. Look at that, right? Okay, here we are. First page result. And I literally have no idea what I'm going to see. View page source, right? I'm looking for the magic word. Guess what the word is? Schema. There it is. Schema. Do you get it? They have schema information built in. They're doing it a slightly different way, parsing JSON, and they tell you where to go to take a look at that information. But yes, it's a reference to where you can get to their schema. You can do schema in different ways. It's all pretty much the same. It's just how do you want to do your schema, right? View page sources, different website, Control F, schema, and it's here. You can see it. Schema, it's a dentist, right? The name is that name. The address is the postal address here, the type, and everything about that. Telephone number, etc. All this stuff is included in their schema. I always felt like we were missing schema because it clarifies everything so much that Google has no questions. So I wanted schema, and now that we were stuck having to wait for the crosslink routine, I said, we are getting schema done. Okay, that is, okay, let me kind of fly through the rest of this. I've been going through this. This is the detailed stuff. So now I want to point out the rest of what happened here because there's more. We got hit with the worst hacking, like half the sites went down and another 10% a day. Across our 3 servers because all of our coding was homogeneous and because we haven't been hacked in over 10 years, so we hadn't paid attention to it. We got hacked hard, hardest we've, in over 10 years, right? I mean, once hacks hit, they multiply full speed. And a lot of it is even different than the last time. It's not like porn links. We didn't see any links saying hacked by this guy. We didn't see that. We saw more advanced stuff happen. Some guys were creating pages on the site that they just didn't want us to see and then validating them on Google Search Console and checking on their own pages that wrote on our site. But they added it into a breadcrumb sitemap for our site. Brilliant hack. So it allowed their pages to get visibility on our site. And it was stuff like Indonesian gambling. I don't know about you. I would never trust electronic dice that somebody else is referring to me and saying, hey, you can make a lot of money. You should play this electronic gambling game. Trust the randomization functions. It's like, no, man, not gonna. But having said that, the other kind of hack that we would get that was also sophisticated, again, it was like pages that would appear and sitemaps surrounding it. And it would be for like Chinese factory parts, lots and lots of parts from Chinese factories. And so there would be some kind of catalog sitemap submitted in Google. I'd see these things added because I happen to have the Google Search Console for the domains. They'd be added by somebody else. It was like, you punk, how'd you get in there kind of thing, you know? Well, we said, no, that isn't cool at all. Sites were going down, people were getting blank pages and asking me what's up. And we said, we are going to trounce on this thing. So for the past week, basically, we just hit it. Absolutely shorted up, improved the security features. Nobody's hacking us again. And if they do, we already know the next step. Like what we're waiting for 10 years to bother with, we won't really wait 10 years, but we don't need to take this next step we're thinking about taking. But if we do, it'll take 1 or 2 days, so it's not a big deal at all. It'll be done fast without interfering with anything like functionality or anything. And it will, again, stop the hacks in their tracks. So we had to deal with hacking. And the worst thing about hacking is that then Google starts to come back and check your pages again and go, hey, a bunch of pages that we were showing in the index are now missing. They're 404ing out. And then Google's like, you got to kind of get them back. And we're like, hey, we're trying, but we got hacked first time in over 10 years, so we're stuck. And we had to deal with all that. So we lost a little ground that way, but it's okay. The sitemaps have been around long enough. We're sticking with the same sites. We're putting the links right back out. But our site's been around long enough that even if some page is 404, which frankly isn't even a trigger for Google to be worried. Google knows that people take down pages when they no longer apply and put up new ones, change them, try test them out. Google figures you do that. And so all it means is put back up the right pages, which we've done, okay? And let Google realize, oh, they're back, which is okay. But we can still go forward with our cross-linking routine, which is going to be like 1 or 2 more days. It's literally, we're doing these things at once. We already did the sitemap.xml fix, the last mod function on every one of the websites. And all the websites, I mean, they look the same when you go see them, but they are like iron cast. I mean, you're not going to penetrate that armor if you're trying to hack the sites anymore. Nobody's going to win. And so, I mean, we're pretty proud of the fact that we push security that high. Nobody wants to have to deal with it. It always sucks when it comes up. Mostly you don't see it coming until it sort of balloons in front of you. But we did slam down and just take care of it all and then put everything back up because we've always got backups. It's okay. And then final cleanse that stuff when no hackers could get in anymore. So we got rid of all the hacks that were in after we cut the hackers out. And now we're totally back in business. And we just finished figuring out the schema piece. So we're going to integrate that through all the websites like today and tomorrow. Literally, we're starting like either night shift tonight or it's going to be day shift tomorrow. But it's going to happen fast. And so Google will love seeing it. In the same time that we're doing that, we're going to be able to start running cross-links. So we'll just come in from different angles. We won't do the same site for both and then the same site for both. We'll come in doing schema here, cross-links there, schema here, cross-links there. They're going to overlap eventually because Google figures everyone's got schema or should have schema and eventually catches on to it. And everyone should have cross-links. So it's perfectly natural that we go in both directions on all the sites eventually. And so, yeah, we got our lists of all the sites, so we're just going to go thunk, 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 thunk. Start with section 3 over here, and then go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and then start with section 1 over here and go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. So we'll get the right effect. Yeah, that's insane. And so beyond that, anything else that holds us down at that point, you know what I would say? There is, and that's if we get held down on anything. We're not going to get held down on anything. But you know what I want to do? I want to start inviting some other local guys to come in and be able to apply their own elbow grease for a cut of profits that come off of sites for adding power to the sites without overdoing it. That's the first thing. I don't want to have to disavow anyone's links or they're going to lose out. But anyone who says, wow, you guys have done 99.9% of everything that needs to be done to rank really high in this category, in this place, whatever it is, I want to, add to that a little bit and then get my cut. It's like, heck yeah. We've got so many websites. You want to hop in and do that? So people who know what they like what? Social media. It's not required to add websites to social media, but what do you think? Does adding websites to social media help algorithmically? Sure. Does that mean that all your pages were doomed if you don't do it and now they're great if you do? No. It's just going to raise the bar slightly where many of those would have already been fine. Wow, I've been pushing. Many of those would have already been fine without. Some of those will benefit from it. But doing it, to each of the websites brings the average up all the way around. That's a good thing, right? What about getting listed in some directories, and stuff? Well, that's great. That's just more IP addresses pointing in at the websites from elsewhere, right? These are things where we can teach people to do or just partner with people to do it. We might have some people do it, watch what they're doing, and then internalize that and move it to an internal group to be able to continue with that. I didn't want, but I'm not sure if I want to incorporate doing social media for all the websites in-house or anything else. You have to keep track of all the proxies you use if you're going to create different accounts, logging in with the same proxies to post up your notes or testimonials or reviews or whatever. And it's better if we just go through people who do that as experts. All right. Having said that, there's a bunch of other really cool things. One of which is we figured out how we can add awesome pages the way we do them to anyone's existing website. So say someone's already got a bunch of traffic coming. They already have built up their domain rank and they just are thin on content, and they would do so much better if we added a bunch of informational layer pages for them. And we can put all the schema into that. And we can do the table of contents. We can add the sidebar with the clickable, links to different sections and the other pages in the same section. We can do all the things that we do with our pages, but then export them as HTML in a folder, in a zip file, or in a set of folders as a zip file. And with the sitemap and with the other files necessary for the guy to be able to add it to his website, whatever his website is, okay, it could be WordPress. And now they can extract these pages which become part of their whole, and yes, references their domain. All the links in the top menu are the same as theirs. All the links in the footer are the same as theirs. But now they have all this incredible content they didn't have before on their native website. Okay, we did that on the side. All right, set that up so that we can offer it. Because, whether somebody wants to get 50 pages, 100, 250, 500, or 1,000, we can add that to their native website. That's something we couldn't do before, but now we can. It's huge. Okay, you wouldn't even be able to tell them apart, except that we'll naturally store them in certain folders so that they're very easy to treat all together and find and replace. Yet another thing. We built an AI chatbot that is ready for release now. So it's going to be like a soft release. Guys stampede in and start playing with it. And this is a chatbot that you train. It gets to be exactly who you want it to be. This is fun. Let me see if I can make this point clear. Check this out. I'm going to create my chatbot is going to be Mindy Briers. I've got a picture somewhere that is going to be used on Mindy Briers. Live agent link is some picture I found. Just some picture. It's nondescript. And so here's going to be Mindy Briers in a little live chat area section. Pop up, hey, can I help you today? Sort of thing. And the live chat can start off with a standard question or not. But guess what? I'm teaching Mindy what Mindy needs to be, my perfect employee. You'll be a live chat specialist working for whatever website, and you're being added to the 100 related websites to help website browsers get answers to their current questions. Be polite and represent who do you want your live chat assistant to be? What do you prefer? Who knows? Mindy here is going to be a white female, age 25, from the Bay Area in California. She's going to have good energy and feel free to speak a bit freely with the intention of being friendly and helpful to those asking for her help. But try not to ramble too much. Those who ask questions are hoping for direct answers, coupled with some politeness and just a little light fun. Address the visitor by name occasionally if you've discovered their name. Here's information for you, answering questions, blah, blah, blah. And then there's stuff, right? We got so much further. We made it possible for you to upload documents and things to train the assistant right away. And then we went even further. We create a web scraper concept. So you can just put in some URLs for the key things you want to teach it from your website, and it will learn immediately. Now, cool thing about an AI assistant like this, it can nobody stands in line anymore. No more you are third in line. All right? This AI chat assistant can handle tons of conversations at the same time. Not just that, but if you were to ask it something odd like, let's pretend Earth had not one moon but two at equidistant yet opposite placements from the planet Earth, how would that affect the tides? Hey, Mindy happens to know. Mindy can describe to you the answer. That's kind of amazing. Wow, what a multi-talented live chat assistant, right? And then what? Mindy also can speak to you in your language. I don't care. Choose one. If you start asking it in a different language, se habla español, it'll just land right into it. Claro que sí. And, what do you want to know? And it can tell you phone numbers of people to call. It can tell you web pages you should visit. It can quote things that are important. It can give you a set of options that it sees in the URL structure of the websites. Say you've got a catalog of links and you've got the blue, yellow, red, green, gold options. Well, if you ask Mindy, what colors do you offer this in? Maybe Mindy didn't get trained on the colors, but Mindy's looking through all the training files to try to answer the question and sees the URLs that say gold, yellow, green, blue, black, or whatever it is. And it'll clarify that's what we offer, And you can obviously add more training material. Well, inside the admin area for this AI, you can create more than one AI bot. One of my jokes was to create Bob the Manager. Bob the Manager is when anyone happens to say, Mindy, you don't seem to know enough. I need to talk to your manager. Can you pass me to your manager? And Mindy says, okay, no problem. I'll send your chat and the details about your issue to Bob. And then Bob pops on and Bob gets to say, hi, I've gone through the details of your issue. What seems to be the problem? How can I help? And guess what? Bob is a 57-year-old, anybody, I don't care, black male, Asian female, Indian male, whatever you want, from here, where English is your native language or your second language or something, and speak that way. You can literally describe your perfect chat specialist, and you can have a team so that it can cycle, different guys. And so that's amazing. We did other things. We made it possible for your chat to save in your chat agent box only to your IP address, so it's only you who sees it all the time, right? Or you can clear it. But it's possible to ask Mindy, say, for some information that she can even ask you, what's your name and your email, and can email you information. We haven't quite connected that yet. That's still in beta, but we're going to do that soon. And then that way, Mindy would be able to attach the PDFs you needed to review and send them to you at your email. And that's pretty amazing, if you know what I mean. So because we keep the stuff tracked, and then that would be the track. So if you ever answered with your email again, the AI can look up your customer history, the conversation history, the chat log, the chat history, and remember who you are. In other words, everything that the AI has learned about you so far from the past chat. So that it can continue to say, oh, hi, John, welcome back. I see that you, did you get the PDFs I sent you? It wouldn't normally remember, but if it can reference your old chat history, it can remember immediately where you left off, what it is you need, based on the fact that's you, your email address or whatever it is when you communicate again. How's that for neat? So this is cool. And here's the coolest part still. Not only can you, when you get it all done, you get a snippet and you just paste the snippet on a website, right? And it creates the little pop-up box down here, okay? Now, when you do that, it'll be on every site you put it on, every page of every site you put it on. Usually you'll put it globally. But when you do that, what else? Oh, it can be on multiple sites. It doesn't just have to be on one. And you can have multiple chatbots, like I said. So, and it's not just our sites. This is one case where it's a universal AI chatbot. It works on any website on the internet, basically, in any language. Anyone and everyone can use this to replace their live customer assistant or their team of live customer assistants by first using this on the site as well until you as the owner know that it's trained well enough, and you can keep adding more training. It will keep track of what it wasn't able to answer and on the inside of your dashboard, you can see the conversations, how they flow, what they say. So you just kind of like study it in the beginning and make sure you understand. Is it possible for us to create another AI assistant that just studies the conversations generated by the AI assistant to make a list of new things that need to be trained or taught to the AI assistant? And if it can research your website, look up some more website, do some more web scraping, say, they can even look up the answers and add to the training, which brings us in the circle to the original live AI, a chat assistant. Eventually, while you're talking to it, if it doesn't know, it'll say, hold on a moment while I research that. And then it'll go learn it really quick. And then it'll come back and tell you all about it. How's that? So yeah, we're really close to that. You know what comes after that? Now that we've come this far, we realize something. We also want an AI blog writer. It runs on the same principle, kind of the web scraping. It understands about your website, and then it also looks up the list of blogs that you've made so that it can see what else you can use a blog about. And it'll write a new blog, complete with the images, references, name. In other words, you can have your blog writer authors and you give them identities. And that way you can start to build up their identities. And that way when they write a number of topics, they become kind of a known thing. Especially if you have a handful of sites and they're guest posting on other sites, but their home is this site here. It's crazy what's possible and what we're able to make happen here. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but this is amazing. The whole idea of a blog writer is to take the responsibility of creating new blogs out of your hands so that you can keep adding a new blog to your website every so often to make it richer. Your writer does it for you, right? That's the idea there. Okay. Yeah, we've not been lying around. We've been making our stuff so cool. And one more cool thing about a neat live agent, it creates the click effect. People click it on, they click it off. Google counts that. We build it in such a way that Google will ascribe that to the page on our websites, okay? And it'll probably ascribe it on every website out there, but I don't know. Time will tell. But anyway, it's there. The other part of it, whether that part works or not on every website, the other, like on Wix or on Joomla or on Weebly or on WordPress, the other part is that it increases time on page, okay? If you're sitting on the page and you're interacting with it, you're on the page longer, right? And if it tells you, hey, you should click this link, it can do it. It can give you a clickable link. You can go to a page. Or it tells you, you should call Tom at this phone number, and it gives it to you. And you can click it to call if you're on a mobile phone, right? So all of this is awesome. You can talk to the live chat agent like a human. You can tell it if you're on a mobile phone. You know, you can ask it if you need something in a certain format so you can understand it better, or if it could draw you a picture, it might even work. Haven't tried it, I just thought of it. But like, can you make me a chart? You know, it probably can. Or do you have a chart or a PDF about this, that, or the other? Okay, I'm almost rambling. Guys, we are not there, but we are almost there. And I think we'll be there for sure within the next month or two. But not just that. we did put blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, into, well, overcoming the hack, but also getting all this incredibly powerful stuff into play. Look at this. This looks funny, right? I want you to see what this means. Let me take this down. Let me go right here, okay? This is schema, and I'm going to validate my code. Is it correct, right? It doesn't know whether Russ Owens is real or not. It doesn't care exactly what I'm talking about, but it's not important. The important part is that the code has no errors and no warnings. And look at all the pieces that are here that we are absolutely telling Google applies to this page. Exactly what it is. All these will be proper H2 and H3 titles in their right orders. There's going to be the article body that describes what the page is for, the entity of the page and the author of the article, whether it's an organization or a person, and therefore the name. How's that for amazing? Okay. And now that we do it with this piece of schema, for anyone else who's asking, what about other schema options? That'll happen eventually. Drop-down list, schema in different formats. We could probably even feed what we've done. Again, I'm thinking out loud. We could probably feed what we've done to GPT and say, give me some other correct schema variations that make sense for this kind of thing. And when it does, we'll create that list and just make sure that they're all handled in a similar way, but storable and handleable on the website, so that you could even have a schema like column with a schema number, choose from. Schema number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say, I don't know, we'll figure out a way to make that make sense as you cycle through the pages. So some of your pages are using schema for a web page article. Some of your pages are using schema for a new event, some which has a start date and an end date, so Google knows when it's supposed to rank and when it's supposed to stop ranking. Google loves that kind of thing. You can have another article about the company, the About Us stuff, right? You can have another, schema about that, right? And when you're running that across a bunch of websites, right? We'll create ways to filter for that. It's nuts what we've been doing. You know, I don't know what to say. Even with inserting the images, we can use our page markers that define the sections of the site, so that when we insert images, we are matching them to the appropriate pages on the site. For instance, locksmith, emergency locksmith, residential, commercial, automotive, right? And what are we thinking? Emergency locksmith images are a little different than residential, aren't they? They show something else. Residential shows residential locksmith stuff. Getting in and out of doors and windows in the middle of the day. Installing locks and stuff in a house door. Emergency is often at night and involve, it could be anything. The guy who runs the storage box facility where somebody has been trying to break in with a copy of a master key and open all the locks, and this guy needs all the locks changed out, right? That's emergency. Or the garage door. Somebody slammed into the garage door because they were drunk or slipped or whatever on the gas pedal and smashed the garage door. So guess what? It's compromised, right? How are you going to lock that thing back up, if it's bent a certain way? So you need garage door repair, but you also need a locksmith. And then commercial images are different than residential. Automotive are certainly different, right? So we can make a stack of automotive images, different stack of commercial, different stack of residential, different stack of emergency, zip each stack up, and then upload them through a stack of websites and say, only put commercial images on the commercial pages. Only put automotive images on the automotive pages. We already made that work. We already made that fine. So, we have gone as far as you can go with the automation of stinking everything that it takes to make websites, and we can do it in mass. We really have the best website development system out there, and we are, just from the pure coding and actions we're taking, we're 99.9% of the way to just controlling rank on everything. And especially if we're using Spamzilla to buy expired domains, and especially, that's one more thing I want to do, is a disavowal tool. Although so often I keep looking for signs that I need to do it, and I don't see it. So it'll be the last thing I get to if I feel like I need to. But frankly, I don't. You can go in Google Search Console and look up whether Google is taking manual actions against a site for which you would want to run disavowals. And so far, I'm not seeing it. If and when I do. But so far, it's not a problem. And I love that. I love the fact that it's not a problem. Okay. I'm going to break off the huge update. So sorry that we're not rich yet, but probably 2 months from now we will be. And in the meantime, yeah, there's not much left to play with, and the security's been caught up. All the hacking stuff is behind us now for like the next 5 to 10 years. And in the meantime, everything I have ever wanted our tools to do to create the best web pages out there on the internet, I don't see anything out there anymore that does better. You know, the page speed tools do not make the pages faster than us, faster than ours. The Yoast options we've built in, you know, and I mean, we built most of that stuff in totally in parallel. I only looked at Yoast today, but I knew there were I knew there was one thing about Yoast I really cared about, and that was the schema. And then I knew that Yoast adjusted some SEO stuff, so I was going to go take a look at it. But sure enough, my point is, the stuff that needs to be done, I want it done, and we've done that. So, yeah, I mean, aside from a disavowal tool, which right now is like a site-by-site thing, and that's easy. That can be done manually. If I find one website or 2 or 3 that have had manual actions taken against them, I know how to deal with that. It starts by logging into Ahrefs, looking up where the curve for domain rank, while the curve for backlinks went up until domain rank went down, but the backlinks keep going up. That block right there, grab that and disavow the entire domain. So even if some of those domains were back here when it was still climbing, it's the domains we're going to disavow, because that makes sense. If you got 1,573 backlinks from one domain, then just disavow the domain. Just do it. And, you know, if that looks like any sign of Google taking it down, right? Which usually it would, unless you're really playing at that level. But, yeah, everything is done and working. Don't have any more tools that aren't working, okay? And all this stuff complete with schema makes me so happy. All right. There's your update. I'm going to start putting stuff out about the live AI chat assistant, and I invite you guys to dive in on that when you can. The only cost to that is a base cost for verbiage usage, wording usage, because there has to be. It's total GPT assistant oriented. And aside from that, you know, there's other things you can do. So like the bigger the package you have, the more web pages you can scrape, stuff like that. The bigger you're playing, but it is cool. The fact that you can make a bunch of bots and set them loose on your websites, and they all act their own way, and you can see how they behave and what they have to say. I've had somebody say, when somebody wants to talk to the manager, what do they want to see happen? And the answer is a different personality. They want a different person to appear. Somebody older, maybe the opposite sex, more calm, more clear-headed. We would assume better trained, but the bots are trained about the same. I mean, why would you undercut the training of a bot? Okay, but you just describe Bob the manager, say, and that was my joke, to have Mindy hand Bob the manager, the conversation. But Bob the manager, I'm just telling it, you're going to be a live chat specialist who is a manager for Mindy Briers and whoever else. You know, you're going to oversee all 5 of them. You know, whoever the chat agents are, chat assistants. Okay, I think you get the picture. It's getting fascinating, and it's crazy, and it's growing like a whirlwind. And about the time that we also have the blog writer, AI blog writer going, yeah, these sites, man, we can append data to them. We can do anything we want. It's so simple now. So, yeah, nothing stops us from being the best websites out there, especially for mass website generation. And we're going to make them rank. Google likes everything we do. I check for any signs that were bad backlinks for sites. I check that were any signs for manual actions against any of our sites for any reason. We don't have that. So it's just, making the sites better. Get rid of bad pages and stuff, which we built all these tools to do, and more tools to monitor and improve upon and so on. Yeah, it's great. It's great. We're almost there. Okay. I'll talk to you after a while about that, but yeah, just keep track of the upcoming videos since they're going to go over the new things that we're releasing as well, so you know what's going on. Okay. Talk to you soon.